Well, now I'm going to discuss about the loops. Well, loops are used to execute a block of a statement as number of times as we want. If I'm mentioning about 6 times, it will repeat the same thing for 6 times. And they are handy when you want to run the same code repeatedly, adding a different value at each time. And if you want to change any name or anything, or you have to update the thing for 3 times or 4 times, you can use these loops. Coming to the loops, in the first loop we have the for loop. Here we have the for loop code snippet in which we have a for keyword, and the for keyword has brackets in which we have initialize, condition and increment. In the initialization we just give number to a given variable, and next week in the condition we just say that this loop has to loop again and again till this time. Means if I am mentioning about a 5, it will move the code for 5 times. And next we have the increment. At each time after the completion of a loop it will increment. For example, here we have for variable I equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. Means it for the I equal to 0, it will first take a loop, and I will be incremented by 1. And in the second case, I is equal to 1. As 1 is less than 5, it will take up into 2, because 1 plus 1 equal to 2, and it will execute. And next I become 2, and 2 is less than 5, and it become 3, and it will execute. And we have the 3, and 3 will go I equal to 3, 3 is less than 5, as it is true, it become a 4, and it will execute. And it will go there, 4 is less than 5, as it is true, it becomes 5, and it will execute. At last when 5 becomes I equal to 5, 5 is not less than 5, 5 is equal to 5, therefore it will end the loop there. This is how we use the for loop. And next we are moving with the while loop. Well, while has some condition, and it has a curly braces in which we write the code. And in the condition, if the condition is true, it will execute that loop, else it will not execute the loop. As you can have a look at here, I have written variable n equal to 0, and I am using while n is less than 5, I am using n plus plus. And n become plus plus, it will n become because of plus plus n become 1, and 1 is less than 5, as it is true, therefore it become 2, and 2 is less than 5, as it become 3, 3 is less than 5, as it become 4, 4 is less than 5, as it become 5, 5 is not less than 5, therefore the statement become false, therefore it will break the execution, and it will break the loop at there. This is how we use the while loop. This is how we use the while loop. And at last we have the do while. Well, what is the difference between while and do while? Well, whatever condition you give at the first site and you have curly braces, that same while is present at last of the code snippet in the do while. Here you have the code, here you have the do, and you have the code, and you have while, and you have the condition, and you have do, and you have n plus plus, and while n is less than 5. And this will code will execute until the n become less than 5. But this code will break the loop when after the execution, but not before the execution, as there in the while. Here you have the first perfect illustration of how while and do while work. Here you have the while, and you have the do while in the. Here you have the perfect illustration of cock and the fox. Here fox represent the do while, and the cock represent the while. And when I am talking about do while, first do will run the code, and next the while will stop. But here in the cock side we have the while, and we have the condition, and we have the run. If while become false, it will not go there, else it will execute. At the same time, do will leave the code to execute. At last the while will check, means while will check whether to execute it or not execute it, which is very late for the purpose. This is how we use while and do while. We will discuss in the VS Code. Now I am going to discuss about the for loops. Whenever we are using a for loop, first of all we must have a variable and we will initialize it and we will give a condition and then we will increment. How many times I increment, that many times loop will run. For example, I want to print or I want to get output hello world for 5 times. Without writing it 5 times, I am just using a loop. As you can have a look at here, I am using a for loop. In the for loop, I am using a variable I and I am initializing it with the 0 and I am giving a condition. Condition must be I is less than 5. Means it will run from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you can have a look at here, I am using a I++ and I am writing document dot write. In the document dot write, I am saying that this is I and I'm writing times repetition and I am writing this and I'm reloading the site. As you can have a look at here, when I reload the site, it is showing me 1 minute. I will add a line break here. I have saved it. When I just reload the site, as you can have a look at here, it is showing me it is repeated for 5 times. This is the first time repetition and this is second time repetition and this is third time repetition and this is fourth time repetition and this is fifth time repetition. This is how we create the loops and we can use loops as many times as we want. Now I'm going to discuss about a while loop. Whenever we are creating a while loop, first of all variable must be declared already and it must be initialized, and I'm using a while loop to print the same repetition for 4 times. Here I'm initializing condition n must be less than 4 and I'm using n plus plus or plus 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 n, and the next I'm using document dot write. In the document dot write, I am saying that this is n and this is its time of repetition, times repetition, and I am saving it and I'm just saving and I'm reloading the site. As you can have a look at here, this is the times repetition, this is first time repetition and this is second time repetition and this is third time repetition and this is the fourth time repetition. And if it is not clear to you, I just add a line break and I save it and I just reload the site. As you can have a look at here, it is repeated for 4 times and this is how we use the while loop. When I'm considering about do while, I have to remove this while and I will save it. I remove it and I use do here and here I am using the while. Here I am using a while and in the while I am using that n must be less than 4 and I will save it. When I just reload the site, it is showing the same thing, but one thing that here, first of all, when we have while, it is checking and it is running the code, but in do while it will first run the code and it will then check it, and this is how we use while, do while and for loops, and this is all about the loops. Well, do subscribe our channel for regular updates. Thank you.